Hi everyone, welcome to episode 9 of the Mental Matters podcast. My name is Natalie and today's topic is going to be about resilience. The reason why I'm choosing this topic today is because I've just fallen flat on my face trying to do a little exposure challenge once again, and I'll explain a little bit of what happened, but today we're focusing on resilience, bouncing back in times of trouble and in times of distress and when you feel like nothing you ever do is going to work. That topic is hitting a little close to home today, so that's what we're going to talk about. Because as much as this podcast is about educating others and helping others, it's also a tool for myself to kind of vent and have an outlet so I don't stab myself in the neck. So today I was having a pretty good day at home. I could tell like whether I'm having a good day or not by how much I can last outside of my bedroom and interact with my family and stuff. And I was having a pretty good day today. And there was a outdoor soccer game that a bunch of Armenians were playing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to that today because, I'll get out of the house. It's a Saturday night. It's been like 4 Saturdays in a row I haven't left the house. I was like, you know what? I'll go and I'll watch the game because I like watching sports. And it will be a fun little outing and it'll be a way to, dip my toe in the water and get out of the house. It already started off a bad note when I misunderstood the address and then I ended up driving 15 minutes away. And it's like as I was driving, before I even knew it was the wrong address, I was already feeling the flare of the symptoms I get when I get anxious. But, I kept going, kept trudging along. I was aware of what was happening and I knew it wasn't like, oh my God, like I'm dying. Like I know I'm having a anxiety attack, but it doesn't change how uncomfortable it is. But I was like, we'll keep going. Let's just get there. And then I get there and I'm like, oh my God, no one's here. This is not the right address. And then I reread the address and I was like, is it at this place, which is back another like 10 minutes, like further to where I live? So I drive there and then I get there and I see teams playing and none of them are the teams I'm looking for. And I'm feeling really anxious, obviously driving around and not knowing where I'm going. And I'm feeling defeated and I'm feeling annoyed. I'm like, where the hell is this place? Where am I going? And then I speak to a friend and turns out it was just a couple parks down from where I was previously, 15 minutes away. So I decided to go back just because I thought I really needed to do something to expose myself. Like I needed to do something, get out of the house. So I thought, I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to go home if I don't go. So I decided I'll drive back in the direction I was. And I'm driving and I'm going and I don't feel great. I'm chewing on my candy because that helps my jaw symptom where I feel like, really tight, and it makes me feel like that's my symptom that makes me feel the most anxious. So I chew on like a Mentos or, just like a chewy piece of candy to kind of take the tension out of my mouth and focus on something else. So I'm chewing on those. I know I'm like, already really agitated and stressed out before I've even gotten there. But again, I'm still pushing through and I get there and it is the right place this time. And I get there and I look and there's no one that I am friends with there. Like I know people there, but they're just a bunch of like people I know, like not that I would sit and hang out with. And that wasn't a problem. Like I knew, like I hadn't like talked to anyone to see if they were going or anything. Surprisingly, I don't get like socially anxious in the sense of, like I can't sit alone or whatever. Like I don't care about that. Like I'm happy to sit alone and look like a freak and look lonely or whatever if I'm like enjoying what I'm doing. So I was like, that's fine. Like, I'm just going to sit alone. Like, I don't care. But yeah, that just being there, it wasn't working. It was, my symptoms kept flaring up, the mouth tension, the breathing, like I was sweating. And it just, from me personally, they say, exposure therapy, the more you're there, the more you do it, like the easier it feels. For me, when my medication isn't balanced, which it is not right now, I don't get better the more I'm there. It builds up and it gets worse. So there's a certain point, especially when I'm driving, there's a certain point where I have to call it because I will get in a state that isn't safe to drive. So after being there for only about 10 minutes, and after all that driving and panicking, and I even took the toll, like $10 toll, just to get back to where I was before, I was only there 10 minutes because I felt way too uncomfortable and obviously needed to drive myself back home. So that's how I decided in the car to at least make something out of this experience and publish a podcast episode and talk about resilience, because I've learned that these failures that happen when I do these challenges are part of recovery and part of the process. So as much as, it does anger me and it does disappoint me that I know there's nothing to be afraid of, my body just doesn't seem to understand that. As soon as I got in the car, my body was just not agreeing with me at all. It's so important to give yourself some grace for even trying, because I know I could have stayed home. I know I could have been comfortable, but I made that decision to try and to leave and to make myself comfortable, because the second you give up and decide where you are now is where you're going to be forever, is when you will really be stuck where you are. So you really have to pick and choose quite carefully what challenges and exposures you want to do, because the disappointment when you don't succeed can really affect you. Like today, I'm not affected. I know that I did my best. I know that I tried. And even though obviously I am not happy that I didn't stay, like I wasn't having the best time there anyway, but that wasn't the point. It was the point that I left because I was feeling uncomfortable is what makes me upset. But I know that the fact that I even tried means something to me. But if you do too many of these exposures and you put yourself in a position that you're going to feel really uncomfortable, and you're going to put yourself in a position that you expose yourself too many times in a row, and it leads to multiple failures, it's more likely that you'll get kind of turned off putting yourself out there, and you'll lock yourself in your room or wherever your safe space is even more, because every time you fail, it goes in your brain that, I was right, this wasn't safe. So it feeds the anxiety. So that's why resilience is important, to get up and try again. But you have to think really hard about what is worth, doing, and what is worth trying, and your odds of succeeding, and balance it with, maybe today I should keep myself home, or, take it easy. You have to pick and choose what scenario is going to give you the best outcome for your recovery. So it's not as simple as make yourself uncomfortable every single day, every single moment, like put yourself out there, fail until you succeed, because a person can only take so much. Your mind can only take so much. Your body can only take so much. And it really is discouraging to not be able to do the thing that you set your mind to. And by putting yourself in that position multiple times, it's just not good for your morale. It's not good for that little voice. It's feeding that little voice in your mind, the anxiety that says, yeah, like I told you that was dangerous, even though you know deep down it wasn't dangerous. There was nothing worth panicking over. It's not in your control. That's the misconception about anxiety. I know that this soccer game, I know that a bomb wasn't going to drop. I know that nothing bad was going to happen. Logically, I know that. But the systems in my body and the pathways that have been made in my mind about danger that I have no control over decided that it is dangerous, and I can't control that at the moment. And I'm working with my therapist to try and reroute those thoughts and those pathways, because it's so indented in my brain. So for the past 12 years, as I've said, I've been dealing with this. It's so indented in my brain that I can think so positively and I can know these things, but it doesn't change the fact that physically my body is going to react a certain way. So you can expose yourself to a situation and, some people will say, just tough it out and it'll get better, like you'll forget about it. But when you're in this chronic pattern of panic and it's happened over multiple times, multiple occasions, it's deeper kind of buried. So it's really easy for me to say that, oh, this went so wrong. I'm never doing this again. That was stupid of me. I don't, deserve to go out. I'm just going to rot in my bed because that's what, my body's telling me to do. Like, no, I'm not saying that. You need to get yourself out there slowly. But when everything in you is telling you that it's a danger and it's really affecting you, sometimes you need to take a step back and you need to recharge before you go and put yourself in an uncomfortable position again. Because if you go in too hard, your nervous system is just going to get overloaded, and then your anxiety is going to justify how you feel. It's going to say, I told you so, it's dangerous, and make that even harder to shake. So picking and choosing when to be resilient and when to kind of take a step back and just accept that you're going to have one of those days where you're not in control it's a good thing to kind of consider and really know what your body is telling you. Really dissect what your body is telling you. And if it's not up to it, listen to it and hear it and honor it. But if it is up to it, like I thought I was today, you do it and you try to break that cycle, those pathways in your brain. But again, it's not all going to be sunshines and rainbows. Today, I failed. I'll say it. I failed. It didn't go the way I wanted. Even though I had a good day, I thought I was ready. It just didn't go the way I wanted. But resilience is all about going forward. Again, tomorrow I'm not going to do something crazy to make up for failing today, because that is just going to put me in a worse position than I am today. So it's okay to accept defeat sometimes and to recharge and to use your experience to think of a different plan. Like, reflect. Like, I realized maybe getting lost and driving around for half an hour wasn't the best outcome for me, and it probably did accelerate my anxiety and panic a lot faster, and it was quite high by the time I got there. If I had known the address straight away, I would have gotten there and maybe been able to stay around 30 minutes. But because I was driving and stressed and, trying to figure it all out, I got there and I was not in good shape. So it's important not just to say you failed and throw it aside. It's really important to reflect on it and see what you can do differently next time, or what tools you would use, or, just something that will help you out and make it maybe easier the next time, so that the next time you do it, you have a better chance of, making it through your exposure, making it through your challenge. And it is really hard to stay positive when you're constantly getting, kicked in the gut every time you try something. But at the same time, after doing this for a while, which I have, you figure out that you don't really have a choice, because the second that you give up and you curl up in a ball, sit in the dark, cry your eyes out, and just accept that the world doesn't need you and you're going to be like this forever, you're as good as dead then, and you're really not going to change. And it's a tough thing to avoid, because you get so tired of fighting and not winning, or you win something and then you go 2 steps back because life hits you 10 times harder. It's such an easy thing to say, stay positive and keep going, be resilient, but when you've been kicked down as much times as I have, you don't even trust when you win. Like, you can have a good day, but you don't trust the fact that, tomorrow I'm going to have a good day as well. Like, that the recovery is so up and down that tomorrow I can be just as bad as I was in my worst days. And it's hard to accept that, but that's just the way it is. Nothing is linear. Recovery isn't linear, and that is one of the hardest things to accept. But once you do, you're able to enjoy that moment a little bit more, that win a little bit more. So keeping it together is a hard thing to do, but a necessary thing to do, because it's like you're going to get emotional whiplash, one good day, one bad day, or one good day in 8 bad days. It's not something that you can predict. When your nervous system is so dysregulated, as mine is right now, but hopefully in time, with the right medication, the right tools, the right therapists, you find what works for you and create a more consistent pattern so that you can enjoy the good times without thinking, oh, tomorrow is just going to go back to feeling like crap. So it's really important that you keep going and you find the tools that work for you. Just because it didn't work for you, something didn't work for you, today, like for me, doesn't mean that other things won't work, or doesn't mean the same tools won't work on another day. It doesn't mean that everything I've learned is wrong, or, I'm a failure. It means today it didn't work out. I accept that. I own that. I tried, and I will try again when I'm ready. I've learned over time not to beat myself up completely when I feel like, I failed. I'm human. I do get angry. I do get frustrated, but I have learned to bounce back and kind of encourage myself and prepare myself for the next time, and not accept that I'm going to be this way forever. Because if I base the rest of my life based on what's happened today, or, off a little failure, then I'm not going to get anywhere. If I accept where I am, I will not excel. I'll be staying where I am. So it's so important to look ahead and to not take one day as the rest of your life. It's one day in many, many days to come in your life. So it's hard, but it's necessary to be kind to yourself and to give yourself some grace, because your mind is already beating you up. Basically, you're going through this because your mind and your body aren't agreeing. You just need to give it that little energy you have left. You just need to give your body and your mind some grace and just feed yourself some positivity, because the second you let those things take over and to really belittle you once you're already down and kick you while you're down, it's going to be so much harder to get up. So even if you don't believe it at the time, or you don't have the energy, just feed yourself those little positive things, because that's what's going to get you built up and ready for the next time you're ready to put yourself in a challenge. And again, I emphasize on ready. Only when you're ready should you challenge yourself again. Don't jump the gun by, doing something crazy because you weren't happy with how you handled something else. Just take the time, recuperate, think about what the next step would be. For me, today didn't work out. Do you know what? Tomorrow I might do a even smaller baby step. I'll go for a walk around the block just to get myself out of the house. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's like today I've fallen off a hypothetical ladder, and I was a couple steps up, and now I've fallen back on the floor flat on my ass. So you got to tackle that ladder one step at a time. You can't just get back to the top where you were. So you start off with really, really small things, even if they sound silly, and you work your way up from there, from the beginning. So that's been episode 9 of the Mental Matters podcast, focusing on resilience today. I really needed to chat about it because, it's tough when you're not able to do simple things. Like, I didn't sign up for war today. I just wanted to watch a soccer game. But my body, my mind was not having it. And I accept it and ready for the next challenge when I feel at peace with it and when I am ready. Once again, it means a lot to whoever's listening to this. It could be nobody. It could be, one person. But whoever's listening to this means a lot that you're on this journey with me, and feel free to check out the rest of my episodes. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks.